The Middle East, a term rich in political and cultural significance, encompasses several regions in Asia, with a particular focus on West Asia and parts of Africa. Unlike strict geographical boundaries, this term is deeply rooted in culture, allowing for some fluidity. In the eyes of the media and various international organizations, such as the United Nations, the Middle East is typically understood to include Southwest Asia. In Western scholarly literature and discourse, it is often perceived as a cohesive grouping of states in North Africa. When we seek to identify Middle Eastern countries, we examine linguistic similarities, shared ancestry, racial affinities, historical territorial connections, religious heritage, and political influence. The Middle East holds a pivotal position in controlling the world's oil reserves, and historically served as a bustling production distribution hub, particularly during the heyday of the maritime Silk Road. This economic prowess has enabled some of its nations to achieve substantial financial prosperity. They've not only invested in their military capabilities for national defense, but also extended a helping hand to neighboring countries. With their financial resources, these 5 nations have been able to bolster their military sector, earning them a spot among the most formidable armed forces in their region. Now, let's delve into a detailed examination of the military capabilities of these 5 affluent Middle Eastern countries.
Let's discuss in more detail Saudi Arabia's military capacity, starting with their military budget. Saudi Arabia, known as the oil king of the Middle East, proves itself as the country with the largest military budget in the Middle East. Based on data, this country allocates up to $46 million for military purposes. This budget is significantly larger than other Middle Eastern countries with higher power rankings than Saudi Arabia. Turkey only spends $25.2 million. Egypt only has $4.2 million. Iran can only afford up to $5.5 million. Even Israel, arguably a wealthy country in the Middle East, only allocates $24.3 million. With such a large budget, Saudi Arabia can strengthen its power by making large-scale weapon purchases. In early 2021, this country was even reported as the world's largest importer of military weapons. One prominent example is the procurement of their mainland defense system equipment. Based on obtained data, Saudi Arabia imports their main battle tanks from the United States, namely the M1A2S Abrams. This tank seems to be a favorite of Saudi Arabia, as at the end of 2021, they purchased an additional 153 units. In terms of specifications, the M1A2S is 32 feet long, 12 feet wide, 8 feet high, and weighs up to 73.6 tons. This tank can reach speeds up to 44.7 miles per hour and is equipped with the main weapon, the 120 mm 256A1 smoothbore cannon made by Rheinmetall, Germany. The effective firing range of this weapon reaches 2.5 miles. What's more deadly, the ammunition used is the M829A3 APFSDS, a new advanced ammunition from America. This ammunition can travel at a speed of 5,478 feet per second. In addition, this ammunition is also equipped with a new penetrator system, claimed by America, to be able to penetrate modern armored vehicles. Historically, the American M1A2 Abrams has become a favorite in the Middle East because it has been tested in several conflicts, from the Gulf War in 1990, the Afghanistan War in 2001, the Iraq War in 2003, the Egyptian Revolution in 2011, to the Saudi Arabian invasion of Yemen in 2015. With the presence of the M1A2S Abrams, Saudi Arabia's main land defense system equipment line becomes more diverse. They have 1,273 tanks, 85,140 armored vehicles, 665 artillery launchers, and 186 rocket launchers. After discussing the main land defense system equipment, let's move on to the Saudi Arabian Navy. As a country known for its barren desert region, there isn't much to see in terms of their main naval defense system equipment capacity. Saudi Arabia only has 7 frigates, 4 corvettes, 39 patrol boats, and 3 minesweepers. This means this country doesn't have a single submarine, which is actually a key component in the strength of the main naval defense system. Interestingly, the development of the main naval defense system in the future also does not involve submarines. At the 2022 World Defense Show, Saudi Arabia instead purchased a new HDF 3800 SA frigate. This frigate is claimed to have the ability to face air warfare, 364 fighter jets, 265 support aircraft, and 292 helicopters. At the end of 2022, there was close cooperation between China and Saudi Arabia, as Saudi Arabia spent up to $4 billion to buy main defense system equipment from the Bamboo Curtain country. One type of prominent purchase is the CH-4 drone. This advanced drone has the extraordinary flying ability as a reconnaissance drone with a range of up to 3,106 miles and can fly for 40 hours non-stop. Its maximum speed reaches 270 miles per hour. What's scarier, this CH-4 drone is recorded as one of the drones with high attack capabilities because it can carry 6 weapons with a total weight reaching 760 pounds. Of these 6 weapons, most are ground missiles fired at a height of 16,404 feet above sea level, making this attack difficult to detect by enemy radar. If this purchase goes smoothly, it's not impossible that Saudi Arabia will expand their drone purchases with more advanced ones from China, like the CH-6. Despite its abundant wealth, Saudi Arabia apparently has a major weakness in terms of military personnel. Overall, this country only has a total of 350,000 personnel, consisting of 225,000 active personnel, 0 reserve personnel, and 125,000 paramilitaries. This number is worrying considering the Middle East often experiences conflicts. Therefore, compulsory military service often becomes an issue there as a preventive measure in facing emergency conditions. This issue is also supported by the Grand Mufti of Saudi, Sheikh Abdul Aziz al-Sheikh, who sees a decrease in the interest and motivation of young people in joining the army. Even though the salary of soldiers in Saudi Arabia is quite large, between $1,500 to $5,500. However, with the peace between Saudi Arabia and Iran and warm relations with Israel, it can be assured that Saudi Arabia's position will continue to be safe. Even with the support from many surrounding countries, Saudi Arabia's military ranking can continue to rise from its current rank, which is 22nd in the world.
Let's delve deeper into the military prowess of Egypt. Firstly, let's explore the composition of Egypt's military personnel. According to globalfirepower.com, Egypt boasts a total military personnel count of 1,220,000. This total comprises 440,000 active duty members, 480,000 reservists, and 300,000 paramilitary personnel. However, in terms of sheer numbers, this military presence is relatively modest. When considering the entire population of Egypt, the military makes up just 1.13% of its 107,770,524 citizens. Therefore, Egypt has a considerable pool to draw upon to augment its military ranks, especially given that the country mandates military service ranging from 12 to 30 months. This ensures a steady flow of trained individuals into the reserves. Moving from personnel, let's turn our attention to Egypt's military budget. The data reveals that Egypt allocates $4.35 billion for its military. Just like its military personnel ratio, this budget represents only 1% of Egypt's gross domestic product, which stands at a substantial $404.1 billion. This modest allocation makes sense when considering Egypt's current economic challenges.
the nation often grapples with economic hardships and is frequently labeled as an impoverished country. Additionally, Egypt is known for its increasing debts. As of the end of 2022, the country incurred further debt, borrowing more than $2.9 billion from the International Monetary Fund. Interestingly, despite borrowing from the IMF in 2022, Egypt was found to have agreed to supply weapons to Ukraine. This decision became a subject of international debate as many viewed Egypt's move as unwise. Not only were they supplying weapons amid their own economic turmoil, but by sending arms to Ukraine, Egypt was ostensibly betraying Russia. As many of us know, Russia holds Egypt in high regard. One testament to Russia's fondness for Egypt is evident in their arms trade. For instance, within the army, Egypt purchased the S-400 missile system from Russia. Introduced in April 2007, this system is a ground-to-air rocket launcher designed to destroy enemy ballistic missiles. In terms of specifications, the S-400 is capable of carrying a range of ammunition. One of its most potent missiles is the 48 N6DM, which can reach distances up to 150 miles and altitudes of 88,500 feet. When launched, this missile can speed up to about 6,560 feet per second. Tasked with destroying targets traveling at speeds of 15,748 feet per second. Given these specifications, the S-400 is a vital asset for Egypt, especially since they're situated in the Middle East, a region rife with armed conflicts. Yet, Egypt's arms trading paints a somewhat contrasting picture. While they do possess Russian-made armament, they also purchase weapons from the United States. A case in point is their acquisition of the M1 Abrams, a leading tank in the US arsenal. Often hailed as a dominant force in contemporary armored warfare, the M1 Abrams stands out in its class. In terms of armament, the M1 Abrams utilizes a 120 mm L44M 256 smoothbore gun capable of firing up to 42 rounds of various advanced ammunition types. Besides its impressive firepower, the M1 Abrams boasts a robust protection system, which the US claims can withstand high-impact blasts, chemical weapons attacks, and even biological weapons. By all specifications, this tank is truly formidable. These two ground weapons systems complement Egypt's considerable land arsenal, which includes 4,664 tanks, 77,596 armored vehicles, 3,678 artillery launchers, and 1,575 rocket launchers. The peculiarities in Egypt's arms procurement aren't limited to just the ground forces. Their air force exhibits a similar trend. Having collaborated with both Russia and the United States for ground weaponry, Egypt's air arsenal sees cooperation with China. In recent discussions, Egypt has shown interest in procuring 12 units of China's J-10 Firebird fighter jets. In terms of specifications, the J-10 is a dependable fighter jet renowned for its flying agility and maneuverability, largely credited to the thrust vectoring technology of its twin turbojet engines. While executing missions, the J-10 can reach speeds of Mach 1.8 or 1,380 miles per hour. Its operational range extends to about 1,815 miles with a combat radius of 1,615 miles. Beyond its speed and agility, the J-10 boasts formidable weaponry. This ranges from air-to-air rockets to air-to-surface missiles and integrated bombing systems. The YJ-91 missile stands out as its primary air-to-surface weapon, due to its 75-mile radius and piercing speed of 2,685 miles per hour. With a 198-pound warhead, this missile can decimate strategic enemy structures. China's state-of-the-art LT-2 laser-guided bomb, claimed to have over 90% precision effectiveness, complements the J-10's arsenal. The J-10 Firebirds are set to augment Egypt's air weaponry, which already encompasses 333 fighter jets, 411 specialized mission aircraft, and 417 helicopters. From land and air, let's transition to the naval forces. Egypt's naval lineup showcases their seriousness with 8 submarines, 48 patrol vessels, 23 minesweepers, 7 corvettes, 13 frigates, and 2 helicopter carriers or light aircraft carriers. The helicopter carrier Egypt employs is the Mistral class, sourced from France. This ship has a substantial carrying capacity, capable of transporting 40 tanks, 450 troops, and up to 35 helicopters. With possession of such a helicarrier, Egypt firmly established itself as a nation with a formidable naval force, even within the volatile Middle East. The United Arab Emirates. Often likened to a little Sparta, this characterization was given by General James Mattis, a former United States Secretary of Defense. The UAE, with a population of just around 9.3 million, ranks second in military might on the Arabian Peninsula, only surpassed by Saudi Arabia. Despite their small number of troops, the UAE's military has proven to be both active and efficient. A straightforward reason for the UAE's impressive military power is its hefty defense budget. In 2023, according to data from Global Firepower, the UAE's defense expenditure stands at approximately $25 billion. This places them in the 15th position globally for the highest military budgets. If you feel that this number seems low, let's put it into perspective by comparing the UAE's defense spending as a percentage of its GDP to that of Germany, which ranks 5th in global military spending. World Bank data indicates that, as of 2014, the UAE's military expenditure was around 5.6% of its GDP. In contrast, Germany's defense spending in 2021 was just 1.3% of its GDP. This implies that the UAE allocates a significantly larger portion of its resources to defense compared to Germany. The UAE's commitment to its defense is undeniable. Moreover, projections indicate that the UAE's defense investments will sharply rise from 2024 to 2028, exceeding $129 billion US. As previously mentioned, in the Middle East, only Saudi Arabia surpasses the UAE in defense sector investment. However, the UAE isn't just a consumer of military equipment from various countries. They have started strategizing a two-pronged approach to potential countries to bolster their defense industry. Indonesia, with its PT Pindad, is among the nations that have entered defense business agreements with the UAE. In essence, the military prowess of the UAE is definitely a force to be reckoned with. The United Arab Emirates might surprise you when it comes to the size of its military personnel. With a standing force of around 77,000 individuals, 65,000 of these are active duty personnel with no reserve members. The remaining 12,000 serve in a paramilitary capacity. Despite this seemingly modest number, the UAE allocates a staggering $25 billion US for its defense budget. This is a sizable sum, especially when contrasted with the number of personnel. When it comes to combat experience, the UAE, in line with its Little Sparta nickname, boasts a rich history. Since its formation in 1976, the UAE's armed forces have participated in numerous conflicts, including the Gulf War, the Kosovo War, United Nations operations in Somalia, wars in Afghanistan, and against ISIS in Syria. Discussing the tri-service strength, like many countries, the UAE's primary focus remains on its ground forces. Their army comprises the Royal Guard Brigade, 2 armored brigades, 3 mechanized infantry brigades, 2 infantry brigades, and 1 artillery battalion, with a total personnel strength of about 33,000. Taking a closer look at the UAE's army equipment, data from Wikipedia shows that the nation possesses a variety of small arms, light machine guns, sniper rifles, grenade launchers, anti-tank weapons, and advanced artillery and rocket systems. Their main battle tank is the French-made AMX-56 Leclerc, with the UAE owning a total of 388 units. The UAE is indeed one of the few users of the newer AMX-56 Leclerc tanks. However, its capabilities should not be underestimated. The AMX-56 Leclerc is widely regarded as one of the most technologically advanced and complex main battle tanks. It sports a 120 mm caliber 52 gun and incorporates protective shell technology from tanks like the Abrams and Leopard 2. In terms of combat deployment, the AMX-56 Leclerc saw action in Yemen during the Civil War. Yet, the UAE's expenditure on main battle tanks is not their most significant defense focus. Instead, they prioritize rocket artillery and robust air defense systems. The UAE has the M142 HIMARS, an American-made system with high mobility, priced at $4 million per launcher, including the operator. They also own the Turkish-made TRG-300 rocket artillery, with 4 300mm rocket launch tubes capable of reaching a maximum distance of 120 miles. Additionally, their arsenal includes the K-239 Chunmoo from South Korea and the BM-30 Bao from the former Soviet Union. For its aerial defense, the United Arab Emirates boasts the MIM-23 Hawk, a medium-range surface-to-air missile made in the United States. They also have the MIM-104 Patriot, another American-made missile system known for its success in the Iraq War and the Yemen conflict. Additionally, the UAE is equipped with the THAAD missile system designed to intercept short-range ballistic missiles. Turning our attention to the skies, the UAE's Air Force personnel tally at a total of 4,000 members. In terms of equipment, their fleet is impressively comprehensive. The United Arab Emirates possesses fighter jets, air control and reconnaissance aircraft, maritime patrol planes, transport aircraft, helicopters, training planes, and unmanned aircraft. The UAE's roster of fighter jets includes the French-made Dassault Mirage 2000 and Dassault Rafale. These 2 versatile types of aircraft can execute a multitude of missions, from combat flights and reconnaissance to nuclear deterrence. They also operate the renowned F-16 Fighting Falcon, a highly popular fighter jet that's in service with 25 air forces globally. As for the nation's naval force, the UAE's maritime strength is on the smaller side with approximately 3,000 personnel. Their naval arsenal isn't vast either. The UAE doesn't have submarines. What they do have are vessels like the Gawan-class corvette, Abu Dhabi-class corvette, and Bainuna-class ship. Additionally, they possess 4 offshore patrol vessels, 28 fast attack crafts, 2 mine hunters, and 30 amphibious vessels. Considering all the equipment and personnel the UAE commands, global firepower ranks them at 56th place. However, it's essential to understand that global firepower bases its rankings on sheer equipment and personnel numbers. If we talk about advanced military aspirations, the United Arab Emirates stands out. Their ambitions extend far beyond the Arabian Peninsula. With the United States' assistance, the UAE distinguished itself by becoming the first Arab nation to send a mission to Mars with a project value of $200 million. Successfully launching a spacecraft traveling at speeds of 78,292 miles per hour, their objective is clear. They aim to be a major global player.
And most notably, Qatar. In terms of military capability, Qatar stands as one of the top powers in the Middle East. As a nation with immense financial strength due to its oil and gas business, which began in 1939, Qatar has become a significant player in the Middle Eastern power landscape. With a GDP of $179.7 billion, Qatar has invested heavily in its military. One of Qatar's most significant acquisitions is evident in their air force, which boasts 74 fighter jets, 64 support aircraft, and 84 helicopters. Recently, Qatar confirmed the purchase of 36 F-15E Strike Eagle units from the United States. Rumor has it that this acquisition cost them around $1.17 billion. In terms of specifications, this fourth-generation fighter jet can reach speeds of Mach 2.5 or 1,917 miles per hour, with a range of 2,423 miles and a strike distance of 790 miles. In terms of armament, this jet, which can ascend to an altitude of 59,055 feet, is equipped with machine guns, bomb bays, and a variety of missile launch capabilities, ranging from air-to-air to air-to-ground missiles. In the future, the F-15E purchased by Qatar will be able to integrate with advanced ammunition like the Joint Strike Missile, which has a 265-pound warhead. This missile can travel at speeds of up to 345 miles per hour. To put this into perspective, this distance covers the gap between Qatar's capital, Doha, and Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh, which is only 303 miles apart. Thus, without flying too far, the F-15E can target strategic structures in Saudi Arabia. For modern warfare, Qatar also purchased drones from the United States at a total cost of $1 billion. With this purchase, Qatar will acquire the MQ-9 Reaper drone, specifically designed for reconnaissance missions. It can fly at speeds of 298 miles per hour and reach altitudes of 49,213 feet. However, despite its advanced stealth technologies, the MQ-9 Reaper was reportedly taken down by Russian forces. Furthermore, Qatar made a massive helicopter purchase in collaboration with two renowned companies, Boeing and Airbus. Impressively, this purchase agreement amounted to $23 billion. Qatar's extravagant acquisitions extend to their ground forces as well. According to data, Qatar's army boasts 8,200 armored vehicles, 58 artillery launchers, 16 rocket launchers, and 138 main battle tanks. 64 of these tanks are the Leopard 2 A7+, a state-of-the-art German tank. The unit price for this tank is around 15 million euros, so, doing the math, Qatar spent approximately $1 billion on the purchase of the Leopard 2 A7+ tanks alone. In terms of specifications, the Leopard 2 A7+ measures 32.7 feet in length, 12.3 feet in width, 9.8 feet in height, and weighs a massive 80.9 tons. Powered by the MB-873 12-cylinder engine, this tank can reach speeds of 43.5 miles per hour and traverse terrains for up to 211 miles. When it comes to armament, the version of the Leopard 2 purchased by Qatar is equipped with the L-55 120mm Rheinmetall RH-120 smoothbore cannon. This weapon can fire a variety of ammunition suitable for destroying military hardware and strategic buildings. One of its most potent rounds is the German-made DM-53 APF-SDS-T anti-tank missile, capable of penetrating 29.5 inches of steel after traveling a distance of 1,242 miles. However, there's a significant dilemma for Qatar in using the Leopard 2 A7+. To fully realize the tank's potential, it would ideally use the LAHAT missile from Israel, a pursuit rocket capable of covering distances up to 3.7 miles. Given its direct border with the Persian Gulf, which then connects to the Arabian Sea, it's surprising that Qatar's naval capabilities aren't more formidable. especially considering the strategic importance of these waters in the Indian Ocean. Current data indicates that Qatar's navy only possesses 4 corvettes and 20 patrol boats, which is relatively modest. To address this, Qatar began seeking naval assets in 2020. Recent reports suggest that Qatar has entered into a partnership with the Italian warship manufacturer Fincantieri to produce advanced aircraft carriers and submarines. Preliminary agreements between the two parties are valued at around 5 billion euros. If this deal materializes, Qatar will be the first Middle Eastern nation to operate an aircraft carrier. Before Qatar can emerge as one of the strongest powers in the Middle East, they face a significant challenge: their limited military personnel. Currently, Qatar's armed forces number only 86,550 personnel, comprising 66,550 active duty members, 15,000 reservists, and 5,000 paramilitary forces. Given Qatar's population of just 2.5 million, this number is understandable. However, to truly dominate the Middle Eastern power landscape, Qatar will inevitably need to increase its military personnel and provide top-tier training.
Firstly, let's delve into the state of Iraq's military personnel and its financial situation. On paper, Iraq boasts 330,000 military personnel, comprising 200,000 active duty members and 130,000 paramilitary troops. Breaking it down by branch, there are 180,000 Army personnel, 10,000 Navy personnel, and 3,000 Air Force personnel. The size of Iraq's military is quite significant for a Middle Eastern country, rivaling Saudi Arabia, which has a military strength of 350,000 personnel. In terms of sheer numbers, Iraq benefits from a substantial population of 40 million people, making it the 4th largest in the Middle East. Therefore, its numbers remain competitive, even though many have been casualties of war. Financially, this is where we see the toll of war on Iraq. The country allocates about $5.7 billion to its military. This budget is modest, especially for a Middle Eastern country riddled with armed conflicts. When compared to Saudi Arabia, a country rich in oil revenues, which dedicates a staggering $46 billion to its military, Iraq is clearly lagging behind. When you crunch the numbers, Iraq's military budget is 8 times smaller than Saudi Arabia's, even though both nations rely on oil as their primary trade commodity. Impressively, Iraq's oil industry data is robust. Iraq ranks 6th in global oil production, generating 4.21 million barrels per day. In terms of oil reserves, Iraq ranks 5th, boasting reserves of 145.02 billion barrels. From the personnel and financial aspects, it's evident how detrimental the war has been to Iraq itself. If not for the war, this nation might have easily eradicated ISIS. In fact, in 2017, Iraq's special forces successfully drove ISIS out of Mosul. Just imagine how formidable Iraq would have been had it not been for the US invasion. After understanding the profound effects of the US invasion on Iraq's personnel and financial power, let's dive into Iraq's armament. A clear pattern emerges. The majority of Iraq's ground armaments are US-made. Hence, it's not surprising when people say, after the war, America turned to arms, dealing in Iraq. To grasp the enormity of this business, one can look at the widespread deployment of US ground armaments. Take, for instance, the M1A1 Abrams tanks, of which there are 321 units. Each unit costs $5.9 million. There's also the M1151 Humvee, with over 10,000 units, each priced at $220,000. Moreover, the M109, an artillery launching vehicle, numbers 90 units with a tag of $13.6 million each. Simply put, the US has been profiting immensely from arms deals with Iraq, a trend that continued even after their invasion. As recently as 2020, Iraq purchased the Patriot rocket defense system from the US. This defense system is claimed by the US to have a range of 100 miles and can reach speeds up to 3,107 miles per hour. With these specifications, the Patriot is touted as being able to effectively intercept ballistic missiles. All these US-made armaments now complement Iraq's existing ground armory, which the Iraqi military had previously amassed. This includes 923 tanks, 39,474 armored vehicles, 1,707 artillery launchers, and 424 rocket launchers. The visual dominance of US-made armaments in Iraq's military isn't limited to the ground forces. A similar pattern is evident in their air force, with the F-16 Fighting Falcon being their primary fighter jet, boasting 26 units, each priced at $34 million. By age, the F-16 might seem outdated since its inception in 1974. However, in terms of specifications, the F-16 remains highly competitive, especially for ground attack missions. In terms of capabilities, the F-16 is impressive, reaching speeds of up to 2.05 Mach or 1,352 miles per hour, a range of 2,616 miles, and a combat radius of 339 miles. In terms of armament, the F-16 can be equipped with 11 different types of ammunition, ranging from air-to-air missiles to air-to-ground missiles and bombs. In optimal conditions with the most modern weaponry, the F-16 can even carry the AGM-158 JAS-SM, a US-made missile with a range of 575 miles specifically designed for striking strategic structures. And if that doesn't sound formidable enough, consider the B-83 nuclear bomb, which when deployed has the potential to devastate an area as large as London. This F-16 complements Iraq's arsenal, which consists of 59 fighter jets, 149 specialized mission aircraft, and 204 helicopters. From a military strength perspective, as reflected in their armament, Iraq's Navy seems to be their least prepared branch. Based on available data, Iraq only has 26 patrol boats and 2 corvettes. The corvettes in use are the vintage Assad class, introduced in 1981, and the Saitia class, released in 1984. Given this data, Iraq's naval arsenal is notably weak. However, there's a significant reason for this. Iraq doesn't have an extensive coastline, so even without a formidable naval presence, they remain relatively secure, given their desert nation status. In conclusion, when comparing Iraq's military strength to that of Israel, there's a pronounced difference. In terms of global ranking, Israel holds the 18th spot, while Iraq sits at 21st.